I'm feeling ecstatic. I mean, it's such a huge honor. It's like my favorite honor, of all the awards. The Gang Awards is the best because it's all voted on by, our peers, our friends, people in the industry we know. So it's just a great honor.
Amazing. And Steven, welcome. Congratulations to you as well. How are you feeling, man?
Oh well, I just slightly shocked actually. I mean, that's even to be mentioned in a list with that group of company is sort of insane on its own, really. So, it's just hugely honoured, and it's really a pleasure. It's actually my first time at the Gang Awards, and so yeah, just it's crazy.
Amazing. And Nick, welcome. You're the guy that puts it all together. How are you feeling about the game and the team tonight?
I'm feeling very proud of Stephen and Gordy and this little musical Three Musketeers we kind of put together for this. It's been a real journey. So, I mean, to end that journey with a Gang Awards, that's amazing.
Oh, that's great. Amazing.
Well, huge congratulations. And so we had a couple things we'd love to talk about. I mean,
sure.
First things first, this was a tremendously extensive score and with so much detail and many hours and hours of orchestral material. And so we were just first wondering, how did you divide the workload between you?
I mean, it was, for the most part, I'd say it was probably 50-50, but
yeah,
that would imply that, Steven did half the cues, I did half the cues, but that's really not the case. I mean, we actually collaborated on pretty much every single note of the score, Nick included. I mean, all three of us were, meeting on a regular basis and developing themes together and revising themes together and really kind of honing it in, and then, using each other's material and suggesting ideas on how to harmonize something, these kinds of things. So it was truly the most collaborative experience I've had. It was pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, in a big sense, certainly with all the thematic material, there's no real way in which, I think, certainly there's no way I could say, like, that bit, I did that bit, only that bit, and yeah, that's me. It's, because, it's just, we bounce stuff back and forward all the time, particularly. Yeah, it's, you're always looking to find, it's interesting. It's someone else's perspective on something is always a fascinating thing to get, and composing such this sort of weird, ephemeral, solitary art, and normally, and that there were places where suddenly I'd find where I would hit a wall. And I just, jot it down on a piece of paper, take a picture of it, send it to Gordy, be like, what the hell do I do with this? And he'd send something back going, well, and finish the rest of it. And I'd be like, oh, okay, and so it's one of those things where that we don't ever really hit any walls in that sense, which, it just allowed us to move through this huge amount of music, nearly 7 hours recorded with the orchestra in London. So which we just couldn't have got through otherwise. So.
I think both of you got to write stuff that really inspired you. So that was one of the cool things about it. I mean, with some of the stuff that we were using as reference material was stuff that both of you were really into. So we found your sweet spot.
That's amazing. I mean, 7 hours of material and even all the sound in the game. This question's for Nick. I can only imagine how difficult something like a Star Wars game would be to mix, especially interactively with such a unique sound palette, and just... it has such a deep, rich history, and I'd imagine you have to be very honest and pure about that. How can you outline how some of the interactivity works in the game, and how you manage to get music and sound design and voice all to come together to still feel like a Star Wars experience, but a 2019 video game?
Yeah, first off, the music that Alan Myerson mixed was very, very transparent, but in a good way. I mean, we could kind of weave it around everything, and it was very spatial as well, which gave us it enabled us to put it together with the other stuff that we had going on really, really well. I mean, the other thing that we tried to do as well, and from the very beginning of the game, we mixed all of the cinematics for the game. I had a very talented gentleman working with me called Kevin Notar, who went through trying to match as much as possible everything that we had in the interactive game with the cinematics. Charles Diener was working on the cinematics, and Myron over there at Charles's place, and Kevin was taking that and kind of really making the whole thing a seamless experience between the cinematics and the in-game stuff, including the music. So I'd occasionally check in on him to see what he was up to with the music, making sure he was being kind to it, and he was.
Yeah, it comes across beautifully in the game. I just have one last kind of burning question for both Gordy and Steven. I mean, Gordy, this has got to be your like 5th Star Wars game at this point, right?
think it's more than that, believe it or not. I've kind of lost count. There's little mobile games and these kinds of things.
That's right, the mobile games as well.
Yeah, I think it's 9 in total.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think Stephen, is this your first Star Wars title?
Yeah, I'm a Lucasfilm new boy, really. It was it's one of those things where, you come to it. It is a little bit like, I mean, I know you know this. It's a little bit like someone saying there's the Taj Mahal or there's the Eiffel Tower. I want you to add 9 feet onto the top of it.
Exactly.
And it's kind of it's one of those exercises where if you get overawed by the rest of it, you can easily get into a very, very deep hole. And sort of kind of get there's this huge canon of stuff that just is people know and love, and there's he was saying there's children who can barely string a sentence together again who would know one of the Star Wars themes the whole way through. So trying to find a way to both honor that, but then also to not be blinkered by it and to expand on it. I mean, I think it's a huge honor and then it's incredibly daunting task as well. Yeah. But it's crazy fun.
Absolutely, and your score sounds so fresh and so new, but it still sounds beautifully Star Wars. It's definitely Star Wars in every way.
Great, man.
So huge congratulations to all 3 of you for this.
Thanks so much,
Absolutely.
man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on the show, everyone, and stay safe. Congratulations again, and do that good stuff. And Gordy, feel free to just give me a few bottles of whiskey next time I'm at your house.
Got you covered, man.
You won't even notice they're gone. Let's be honest. All right, guys, take care. Be
Bye,
safe.
everyone.
Have fun.
Take care, y'all. Thanks for coming.
Cheers.